Is life on the outside what you expected?
There are some things that I did not expect coming out of prison. And particularly the hype that everyone had about me and me being released. Hi, I'm Gypsy-Rose Blanchard.
Gypsy-Rose Blanchard, the 32-year-old with the baby voice, infamous for her role in the brutal murder of her mother, Dee Dee, says life has been a whirlwind since she left prison. Every twist and turn on full display.
How do you plead to the Class A felony of murder in the second degree?
Guilty. I think that I wanted to be like everyone else and have that right of freedom to have social media and interact with my friends online. I had no idea that I would have 9.8 million followers.
Her story and her willingness to share it.
Hey everyone, this is Gypsy. I'm finally free.
From her mother's murder to her life in prison to her failed marriage, making her a social media juggernaut with nearly 10 million followers. And you're often portrayed either as the victim of Munchausen or the murderer.
Right.
And what do you want people to know about you?
Quite honestly, I'm starting to feel like they want a perfect victim, and there is no such thing as a perfect victim. In their mind, the perfect victim would have died. And so now that I survived and the perpetrator of the abuse is the one that died, then I'm getting the hate.
The sick little girl in the wheelchair wasn't actually sick. Instead, she was a victim of Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a psychological disorder where a parent seeks attention through their child's made-up illnesses. Gypsy's mother shaved her head and forced her to have unnecessary surgeries, like putting in a feeding tube and having her teeth removed.
Where are you going today?
I'm going to Children's Mercy Hospital to see my dentist for my teeth.
By the time Gypsy was in her early 20s, she found a boyfriend online and conspired to have him kill her mother while she hid in another room. Gypsy was sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was sentenced to life without parole. Her jaw-dropping story captivating the nation.
You know my story. Now let's see what I do with my life.
Gypsy chronicling her life after prison in the new Lifetime docuseries Gypsy-Rose Life After Lockup, capturing raw, personal moments like her first few hours out of prison.
We're being followed.
I'm getting a huge culture shock.
Now she's back in her native Louisiana with newly blonde hair, new teeth, and a new nose. What made you want to volunteer for surgery after all those forced surgeries?
I mean, I have always been very self-conscious about my nose, and that was always a point of a lack of self-esteem. So it was a choice that I got to make of my own free will, and it was not forced upon me.
But she's experienced more than just changes to her appearance since getting out. Gypsy splitting from her husband of 2 years, Ryan Anderson, a middle school teacher who first sent her letters in prison. Cameras were there the first night they spent together as man and wife.
What if I snore?
Well, then we got to get a divorce right away.
Back in January, the two seemed to be happily in love as they sat down with my colleague Deborah Roberts.
Did you get your happy ending?
I think I did.
Time will tell. I think I'm a Prince Charming.
Their relationship ultimately breaking down just 3 months after her release. Gypsy filed for divorce in April. What went so wrong so fast?
Well, I think people need to understand that Ryan and I had been in a relationship for 3 years. And sometimes relationships just take its course, and that's what happened.
But media reports hinted at something darker happening between the two. There was some intimation, some reporting out there that you were afraid of him. Is that accurate?
I'm not afraid of Ryan. I think that there is some things that happened that I think we both wish wouldn't have. But I mean, that's a relationship. It goes through its ups and downs, and it's really difficult sometimes.
ABC News reached out to her ex's attorney, telling ABC News any allegations of abuse leveled against Mr. Anderson are false and adamantly denied. And we consider any such allegations to be defamatory in nature. Do you regret the marriage?
I regret getting married while I was still in prison. I don't regret the relationship.
Gypsy's estranged husband Ryan telling ABC through his attorney that he was blindsided because he felt things were going well, and all of a sudden she's gone. Also adding, I understand that she was conflicted and that she loved someone else too.
Well, don't call Ken. You're probably already talking to him anyway.
Was that part of the breakup?
Ryan and I honestly had issues long before Ken was even discussed about.
But you're with Ken now because you posted the love of a lifetime referring to Ken. What makes him the love of a lifetime?
You just know. Honestly, you just know when someone's in your heart and you can't ever let them go. And it's just different. You know when you're in love.
Now their romance is part of Gypsy's latest Lifetime documentary project.
Why allow documentary cameras to follow you?
I wanted to show who I am as a person, go into this, my new life, with shedding off all of those ideas about me that I feel are incorrect or wrong or misjudged. Thank you for cheering me on and being the best cheerleaders out there. I will be taking a little bit of a step back from social media.
Those judgments, she says, on social media are so toxic, it led her to temporarily walk away.
You were getting death threats?
I still am to this day, still getting death threats.
Why?
People just, some people don't like me. Today is Mother's Day.
One post in particular, Gypsy acknowledging her mother, Dee Dee, this past Mother's Day, sparking major backlash.
It does not go without notice that my own biological mother is not here to celebrate Mother's Day. And what I choose to feel on Mother's Day regarding my own mother is that I think the best of her.
What do you feel like the backlash was about?
I wanted to acknowledge her memory. I wanted to honor her memory. And if I got hate for that, then so be it.
You've spent a lot of time thinking about your mom. What do you take away now, all these years later?
I honestly feel that my mother, she had mental illness. And I don't hate her. I don't resent her. It's a constant choice to look back and remember the good that was inside of her and not always constantly have that guilt of what I did to her, what she did to me.
Here we are with Gypsy-Rose Blanchard.
For now, Gypsy is learning to define what her newfound freedom means to her.
And so what is the higher purpose, if there is one, to doing the doc?
Sharing my story and hopefully impacting other potential victims that are going through Munchausen by proxy so they can see someone that went through it. And I think right now I have to focus on my personal purpose, which is healing myself. I have to get myself right before I can help anybody else.
Gypsy-Rose Life After Lockup premieres on June 3rd on Lifetime.